As D&D fans, we're pretty lucky when it comes to video games. In a lot of ways, it almost feels impossible to go wrong, regardless of what you choose to play. Whether it be classics like Pool of Radiance or Baldur's Gate, or something newer like the Neverwinter MMO, if you can't find a title you like in this incredibly long list of games, you just might not be an RPG or D&D fan. But, like anything else, when there's so much to choose from, it's inevitable that some clunkers will make their way into the mist, like previous Musings subject matter Tales from Candlekeep, an abysmally boring mobile game that was, for whatever reason, only released on PC. Or how about the Silverbox games, which were only just recently re-released through current retailers? Just wait until I get around to unleashing on those babies, believe me. But not today, because none of those titles come even close to what we're here to talk about. Hillsfar, generously, might be one of the worst games I've ever played. Released in '89 for PC systems and later for consoles like the NES, Hillsfar is meant to act as something of an interquel between Pool of Radiance and that game's immediate sequel, Curse of the Azure Bonds. See, Hillsfar lets you import characters from Pool of Radiance, earn extra experience for them, and then flip them into Azure Bonds, of which doing so would unlock unique and otherwise unattainable goodies in that game. It's basically a glorified trainer, taking place in the city in question with you entering into the service of one of the present fighter, cleric, thief, or mage guilds. Beyond horrible, I almost don't know how to describe this game. It's like if someone tried to make a party game out of Dungeons & Dragons, and it plays about as well as you would probably expect. There's no combat, no role-playing, and frankly, nothing that you would expect from a game bearing the D&D license. And you want to know what the worst thing about this game might be? It tricks you. That's right, it lures you in from the start, looking exactly like the type of game that any prospective D&D nerd would want to dive into. Between the nice opening scene and the character generation, it'll have you hook, line, and sinker before long, and by the time you've either imported a character or rolled up a new one, you're ready. You're bought in. Hell yeah, let's ride to Hillsfar. It means that literally. Oh yeah, I'm not kidding. We are literally riding to Hillsfar. Do you like looking at this screen? Do you like changing speeds as if your horse is a broken down manual transmission car? Do you like crashing into every obstacle imaginable? Well, you better, because this right here is like 60% of the game. After you get to Hillsfar, you head to the guild of your character's class. They give you a quest to complete, and then you ride out to wherever they tell you to go. Then you ride somewhere else. Then you probably go back to Hillsfar, then you ride back somewhere else again, all navigated through this horrendous in-game map. If you even care, which you won't because this becomes excruciatingly boring after about 30 seconds, you can saddle up on a faster horse, or if you're lucky, stumble across a wand of blasting that lets you remove obstacles in your path. But it's just this, on repeat. Okay, there is a little more to the game. After all, you do actually get to walk around and explore Hillsfar itself a bit. There's an archery range within the city, complete with a leaderboard. Why don't we go check that out? I mean, this is archery, I guess. It's pretty easy. Almost impossible to screw up, if we're being honest. Alright, well, how about the combat arena? Can you tell what's going on here? I sure as hell can't. We both look like we're strobing at a terrible nightclub, and I'm just randomly mashing my keyboard. Die, trash. Can I at least get drunk at the tavern, then? Well, you too. So maybe Hillsfar isn't the best place for a tourist. That's fine. We are here, after all, to help out the local guild, and it sounds like they need us to investigate a local disturbance. Just gonna pop over to this house, and I'm breaking in. I am a lawful good cleric who has just broken into someone's home and is now rifling through their things. I am completely unsurprised that the guards are now trying to take me away. In what world was this the best course of action? And this is the other primary form of gameplay here? Running around a map looking for random chests while trying to avoid understandably angry guards and an unbelievable amount of traps? And sometimes there's people in the chests? I just... What? Look, the point that I'm trying to make here is that Hillsfar is hardly a game. Each of these activities are repetitive, boring, and completely devoid of anything that might be considered even remotely fun. The quests, if they can even be referred to as such, that you undertake for the guilds are one-dimensional and bland, nor is there any world to earnestly explore. You can walk around the streets of Hillsfar and be incessantly waylaid by thieves that want to offer their services to you, or hole up in any number of taverns in hope of hearing some rumors, but they're both completely unnecessary. The areas beyond Hillsfar are largely just places that you break into once or twice before leaving and forget about completely afterwards. Even worse, there is absolutely zero character to be found anywhere. There's no music or even much artwork to appreciate. Amazingly, the best part of this game might be the descriptions found in the manual, being quite well written and entertaining. When the best part of a game is the manual, you've got a problem. Hillsfar, probably better than any other title that was released around the same time, is the best representation of just how determined SSI was to flood the market with their product. They realized they had a goldmine on their hands after the release of Pool of Radiance and weren't about to let an opportunity go to waste. So much so that they were willing to put out what is effectively a glorified tech demo and call it a game. Because that's the only format I can find Hillsfar has any value in. I imagine it was phenomenal at showing off the technical capabilities of 1989, but it sure as hell doesn't make for a fun game. What's most amazing about this exercise in apathy is that it was developed by Westwood Studios, the same Westwood that made the first two Eye of the Beholder titles and Lands of Lore. In that respect, they might be responsible for both the single best and worst D&D games that came out during the DOS era, which is both amazing and depressing at the same time. I get that this was made practically during the company's infancy, but yeesh, not exactly a great first impression. I honestly wanted to get madder at this game, but I just can't. Why? Because I've literally already shown you everything it has to offer. I'm not kidding, there's nothing else. Just some unbelievably banal minigames, the less than stellar graphics, and whatever shrinking mental state you might be barely able to cling to after subjecting yourself to this futile offering. It is horrendous, don't get me wrong, collecting footage for this game was like pulling teeth, but it's so basic that it's almost beneath criticism. It would be a waste of breath. Hillsfar is proof that the D&D license itself doesn't make a game. There needs to be, substance to the experience. Gameplay, story, whatever, there needs to be something for players to sink their teeth into, and its presence as a trainer for the other games is no excuse for how useless it is in its own right. Whatever you do, do not subject yourself to this sad, sad excuse for a game. What an eyesore, my god.